Oh, this looks vaguely familiar. Feels vaguely familiar too. I remember dropping one of these in 2017. But then it had a Toyota badge on the front. This one's got a Subaru badge on the front. Yeah, it's Subaru BRZ, which is essentially the same as a Toyota 86. Now, I drove the previous generation, 86 GT, back in 2017, as I say, and I was really impressed by that car. Manual transmission, rear-wheel drive, simple mechanicals, light. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, a lot of analog aspects to that vehicle, which I really enjoyed. But there was a couple of things in that vehicle I didn't really enjoy, and I'm hoping that this new version has corrected some of those evil things, but preserved the good things, because those good things are very good things. So let's take the Subaru BRZ TS for a bit of a blat and see how well this car has survived the intervening, 8 years. Okay, we're 3 corners into the test drive, and I can confirm that yes, the BRZ is still a really fine vehicle for corners. TS. Now TS stands for tuned by STI. So what does an STI tuning look like? Well, for this car, it means you get different dampers, Hitachi branded dampers. I didn't know Hitachi made dampers, but there you go. Brembo brakes, 4 pistons up front and a regular 2 piston out the back, and they're gold, just so you can feel like you've got something special inside those wheels. The wheels themselves are a different design and a lighter 18-inch wheel. Michelin Pilot Sport 4s that we're running on the tyres here. What else do we get for our STI input? We get an STI start-stop button. We get red stitching, of course, you've got to have red stitching. And we get an STI logo on the center instrument display. And I think that's kind of about it. The BRZ in New Zealand is $59,990. Subaru are bringing in 10 of these vehicles. They're all the same spec. They're all in the same WRC blue of this car, which just looks amazing. I mean, you've got to admit, this car does look beautiful in this blue. And they're all, of course, manual transmissions. So, well done, Subaru, for bringing the car in the first place, because the market, although it's very, very small for cars like this, is crying out for this sort of vehicle. Something simple, something analog, nice and light, and a real, hackneyed expression I know, but a real driver's car, because it absolutely is a real driver's car. Now, up front in the engine bay is a 2.4 litre 4-cylinder boxer engine, and it's a big improvement on the previous 2-litre boxer engine in the earlier GT86 that I drove all those years ago. The reason it's such an improvement, not just because of the extra displacement, but what that 400 cc's and the rest of the engine mechanicals deliver is both more power and, importantly, more torque. The peak power on this engine is now 174 kilowatts, and that's up 22 kilowatts over the previous generation 2-litre engine. And that happens at 7,000 RPM, which is the same peak power revs that the older engine used to do. So it's a fast spinning engine. It has 250 newton meters, and that's a good 38 newton meters more than the old 2-litre. And more importantly than that, is it arrives so much earlier in the rev range, 3,700 RPM now, instead of waiting for 6,400 RPM, I think it was, for the peak torque to start to come in the 2 litre. So with that torque arriving earlier, it just makes the car so much more tractable. You can hold a slightly higher gear, maybe you can be in 4th where ordinarily you might have wanted to change down to 3rd in the older car. It's just got a little bit more confidence moving around in traffic at slower speeds. It's a little bit more punchy, and it's less tiring to drive because you're not doing so much shifting through that gearbox to find some power. It just makes it feel a bit more engaging, because when you want the torque, when you want the acceleration, it's generally there. It's never a huge amount of power that this car can muster, but at 1,268 kgs, it's not a huge amount of weight it has to haul around either. And out and out power and out and out acceleration is not what this vehicle is about. It's about the joy of driving around corners, it's about the corner speed it can hold, and it's about the communication that the car gives the driver. It actually gives a little bit too much communication in terms of tyre noise. I'm having to be quite selective about when I speak on camera, because I'm only doing 65, 70 kilometres an hour on this back road here. But if I was going much faster, the tyre roar, which I can tell is already quite prominent, would just be unbearable, frankly. So it's not a good long distance haul car if that's what you're looking for. It just gets very tiring, very tedious very quickly. Straight roads, motorways, expressways, it's not its natural happy place. In fact, I come up here on the motorway and north of Auckland, and I'm going to go back on a back road because it's just more fun, and it's really where the car feels at home. It doesn't feel at home doing 100, 110 on a motorway. It can do it, but nah, don't do it. Here's a nice smooth piece of tarmac. It's good. We can talk in more normal tones. The old car had a great sonorous induction snarl, kind of like a wah. This car doesn't have that. In fact, I'll try and give you an example of what this car does. So I'm just going to change down to second, and yeah, there's no real induction roar, there's no real character. It's a nice engine, it suits the car well, but it's not the sort of engine, and the exhaust is quiet too, it's not the sort of engine exhaust combo that if you see a tunnel coming up, you slow down, drop 2 gears, lower both windows, and then gun up through the tunnel just to listen to the soundtrack. It doesn't deliver that sort of sensory input. It still has a little bit of rev hang too between gears, so you come off the throttle on aggressive upshifts, and the revs take a little bit longer than you'd ideally like to drop back down to meet the incoming taller gear. So the rev hang is nowhere near as bad as it used to be on previous manual transmission Subaru Boxer engines, but it's still there. It's still a little bit there. The gearbox itself is great. I mean, it's a 6-speed manual, of course. It's got a good pedal weighting. It takes a little while to get used to, I found. The pickup point, the engagement point is quite a long way back up in the travel of the clutch, but it's very easy to modulate, cruise around in slow traffic, stop-start traffic, no problem whatsoever. It's not a burden. People who say, oh, why'd you drive a manual car in traffic? Look, the clutch is light enough not to even think about it. It's worth enduring a little bit of left leg activity just for the sensation of driving a car that you're in total control of. So now we're into some curvier roads, which is really where this car is meant to be. You don't have to go fast, you don't have to be revving its nuts off, but any speed, pretty much any corner, can be made to be a lot of fun with this car. It just steers so beautifully, faithfully. There's no fear about, are you coming into a corner too hot for it to get your line right. If you are a bit hot, just come off the throttle a fraction and the nose will tuck back in again, and when you're confident with your line again, feed that power back in, And there's enough torque now and enough power to get the tail, particularly in damper roads, to get the tail just to start to contribute to that steering too and start to bring a little bit of oversteer in. It's all very manageable. It's got a limited slip diff. It's all very manageable. It's all very well telegraphed to the driver. You know what's coming up. You know what the car is able to do, what it's not able to do, because it's just got so much communication going on. It's just talking to you all the time. Pedal box is nice. Good to heel and toe if that's your thing. There's no rev matching on the engine for downshifts. I don't mind that. So enough about how the BRZ drives. How about practicality? Huh? Don't worry, this won't take long. We got a manual handbrake, which is nice. Not much storage in here. So cell phone has to live in the door pocket, a drink bottle in the drink bottle holder. You know, I've heard people say, oh, it's cheap and plasticky and stuff. That's not the point, hey? It's not the point. You're not in this car for a luxury experience. But it's comfortable. Seats, particularly, are very comfortable. They're heated for both passenger and driver, two-position heating on that. You've got a traction control button. You've got a sport button, which, as far as I can see, all it changes is a little display. It says sport on the lower part of the instrument panel, and it quickens up the throttle response. A track button, which changes the display of the dash, turns traction control off by the look of the squiggly line underneath the car on top of it. It's backseat people, well, you have to really hate them to put them there because there's just no room. There's just really no room there. Maybe a kid's seat, but boy, what a mission to get in there. Two-door, of course, hard to access, so forget about it. Get a different car, get an SUV. Yeah, it's tight for space, but wouldn't have it really any other way. It's tight. It's one of those cars like the MX-5s that you kind of hop in and zip up. You kind of wear the car. Right, that's enough about practicality. Oh, boot, yeah. There's a boot. It's not huge. It's largely compromised and taken up by a full-size spare wheel, so no space saver here, no can of goop, a full-size spare wheel. We like that, but it does mean that everything you've got that needs to go in the boot needs to sit within the dish of the spare wheel, and if things are small, they could drop down between the spokes and end up underneath the spare wheel, so that might be a hassle for you. I don't know. Look, practicality, who needs it? There's enough cars out there with practicality. Right, let's get this thing on the road again. It doesn't have stop-start, which is interesting. It's a good-looking car, I think. It's small and petite. It's kind of feminine, I guess you would say. But it's got a look at the back particularly. It's almost, you know, in profile, it's almost got a Porsche Cayman kind of look to it, you know. It's sort of, the roof comes down to the boot and then it kind of tricks you and it just has another sort of wave before it gets to the truncated tail. So it's quite a groovy look. It's also got sort of shades of Maserati around that haunchy rear three-quarter. But maybe that's just me. But yeah, generally quite a delicate looking car. Now, this little badge here, it's not something you see on every other BRZ TS around the world. And as I can show you with Google Translate, that actually means wing, yeah? So the idea behind this particular special edition is that wing, of course, means speed and agility and lightweight and all those sort of things, and that's what this car symbolises. It's a lightweight, speedy and agile BRZ. So that's why this limited edition, one of 10 cars, has this kanji Tsubasa script on the back of it. So you won't see that anywhere else in the world but here in New Zealand. God, I love this country. I started this video pondering the question, have the updates that have come along in this version of the car improved it in every respect, or have they somehow messed with a great formula as it was back in the Mark 1? Well, I can answer that quite clearly now. They have improved this car out of sight. The engine, the extra torque available to us, the extra power, it's really good. It's a palpable difference, this car. And the whole car is just a lively little thing that's eager to please. You know, it's really eager to please. It's comfortable for two people. It's intimate. It's light. It's responsive. It's talkative. It's noisy. I'll give you that. It is noisy. It's not practical. It's not huge. It's not great at long hauls, but it's not boring either. It's definitely not boring. So I am very pleased that cars like the BRZ and the Toyota 86 still exist, because it's got to be just a matter of time before they're gone as well.